Hi, welcome to Foreigner in the Philippines. I thought that it was worth a comment on something that seems to be predominantly a thing in the Philippines, where beautiful brown people wish that they were white. I wonder if you have seen the ironic situation of people who live in the Sunshine State in America and go to a tanning salon. So there's more than one thing to be discussed there. There's the irony of being in a place that enjoys so much sunshine and yet seeking to have a tan from a tanning salon and paying money to do that. And then there's the other thing of that if you're, as a Filipino would say, if you are beautifully white, why are you seeking to be brown? It just seems to be ironic all around, doesn't it? Because white people always judge how healthy they look by, oh yes, beautiful tan. I'm the same. I'm guilty of the same thing. I prefer to have a tan. I prefer not to be that peaky white colour that I am if I don't get any sun. I look at TV in the Philippines and I am astonished, I am amazed, I am in some ways horrified at the fact that millions and millions of dollars are spent advertising skin whitening products. Now, why should I be horrified at that? Because I feel better if I'm tanned. So isn't it a double standard? Am I saying, yes, well, I mean, I'm just happy that I have a little bit of sun. What's wrong with that? And then when I look at some Filipina who wants to have a whiter skin, Beth is the same. I'm not judging. I'm just observing that something is so, and if you just change the colours, you'll find that you're in the same situation. You will be looking at having a tan as being an indication of good health. Now, if you look back in history at for Caucasians, if you look back in history at the idea of being tanned, then you come against with the idea that it was only people who could afford to be completely peaky white that were wealthy because they didn't have to work in the sun. People who were tanned were usually outside workers. In fact, it used to be a joke, didn't it, that when you thought that someone was in present time was very wealthy, and then when he went down to the beach, you'd see that from the ankle down his feet were white, so therefore he probably was a construction worker, because he was wearing boots most of the time, and that's me too. So what do we look at? We look at whether someone has a tan. If someone has a tan in the West, it usually means either, apart from those who live in places like the Sunshine State, if you look at someone in, I don't know, midwinter in Chicago and he has a tan, you say, wow, he must have just been out on vacation. That's wonderful for him. He will have gone to a place where the climate was benign, when it was warm, and he will have enjoyed perhaps a couple of weeks lounging around on a beach and getting a tan, putting on the tanning lotion which would protect him hopefully from burning, and then he'd go home and he'd say, hey, look at me. Well, that was one thing. That's just a way of looking at it. Now, if you lived in the UK, which traditionally we used to say about the UK, and that was when I was living there, and I am from the UK, and I can say this, we used to say that we had 9 months bad weather, or 9 months winter and 3 months bad weather, because anybody going on vacation in the UK will come back from that vacation 2 or 3 weeks in Greece or Italy or somewhere like that, south of France, and the first thing that they will say is, we had great weather. It was sunny every day, and here I am with my tan to prove it. Or they will judge it a failure. Oh, it was lousy weather, it rained every bloody day. And that's how they'll judge it. So why are we critical of Filipinas who want to be white? It is only a judgment of a particular viewpoint on beauty. Now, personally, I look at these. I give you a case in point. Today we took some 26 kids, of whom 2 were confirmed birthday girls. That was BB, happy birthday BB, and Lovely, happy birthday Lovely. And we took all of the kids and we took them to the Baraka resort, which has a beautiful pool, and that's the object of going there. We go in to swim. Now today it was not a beautiful day in my estimation because there was no sun, and I'm still a Brit through and through. I like to go and I like to enjoy the sun. It's my choice, it's my viewpoint. And for Beth and for the Filipinas there, it was a perfect day. It was overcast. It even rained a little. Now, for me, I looked at that and said, oh my God, it's going to rain, it's going to ruin everything. Nobody else thought it was going to ruin everything. They all said, this is great, it's not too hot. And I looked at all of those beautiful children with their glowing copper skin, and I thought, how wonderful, how beautiful. Because I'm a white man, and I would love to have a beautiful tan like that. Well, I'm fairly close because I spend a lot of time outside. But we're just trying to illustrate the idea that it's not stupid for a Filipina to want to be white. It's not stupid for a white man, a white woman, to want to have a great tan. It's simply... So I ran out of steam there, I think the flat battery or something. So what I was saying was that it's not right or wrong to either want to have whiter skin or browner skin. It's just simply a matter of choice. So the thing to do is not to get too judgmental on whether it's silly for someone to want to have whiter skin, as if you're here in the Philippines, any more than it's silly for someone to want to have a tan. For a long, long time we've been told that the sun is bad for us, it's causing cancer, and it really gets down to that old saying that my mother always used to say, of all things in moderation. So yes, if you're going to go out to the beach and you're going to spend 2 weeks lying there, caked in, say, baby oil, cooking yourself, that probably is a little bit the far side of all things in moderation. But enjoying some of the sun, which apparently in other ways of looking at it is good for the pituitary gland and for vitamin D, and if we're having extra calcium, we need vitamin D to process that calcium. That goes into a whole other subject. There are people who make their living on knowing this stuff. Perhaps you and I know just enough to be able to get by and look reasonably brown, or if you're in the Philippines, look reasonably white. I actually went to a bank a little while ago, and I'm sitting there being attended to by this teller, a young woman in, I would say, in her early 20s, and she had, in fact, well, what did I say to her? I said, "Miss, you're whiter than I am. How do you do that? Are you half Caucasian? Are you mixed blood?" Which is not this is not an insult to anyone in the Philippines, because unlike we may have been led to believe about the old situation in, say, Vietnam, where there were cases, many cases actually, where American soldiers met up with Vietnamese women, and in some cases secretly married them, and then were unable to bring them home, and lots of broken marriages, and as a result there were lots of half and half culture breed children who were neither Vietnamese. That was what we always used to say, was that they were ostracized because they were neither white nor Vietnamese, so nobody accepted them. I really don't think that that was true. And right now I think that they may even, somebody will correct me on this, validate me or invalidate my view. I believe that if you can show that you are part American as a result of some kind of liaison with your parents when the war was on, you can gain entry into America, if that's what you want. So, all I'm saying is that it would be better to be tolerant of either viewpoint. Allow other people to have their viewpoint. If I want to be tanned, then I'll be tanned. And if I want to get peaky white again, then I'll start staying out of the sun, as difficult as that will be. I'll start putting on a skin, a sunblock or whatever, which I don't use any of that. So it is that, I mean, I look at Beth and I say that she's beautiful colour as she is, and she puts on something that will whiten her skin. Her face, she likes to be whiter. I've heard derogatory remarks, disparaging remarks, when you say, well, it just look like clowns, don't they? Well, that may be in your viewpoint, and you're entitled to it. But if you put it in a disparaging way, don't expect it to appear on this side. So, brown or white or brown, you make your choice. Thanks for looking in. This is The Foreigner in the Philippines. Bye.